Been quite a reversal in the media, and even the questions they have to Republican members of Congress. Take a listen to this Chuck Todd talking to Dan Sullivan from Alaska.
If our intelligence community over time determines, this is the majority view, and it's the U.S. government's view, that this was a lab leak in China and that government covered it up, what should be the consequences?
Well, I think we need to have public hearings on this and really dig into it. Think about what just happened over the last 3 years. One of the biggest pandemics in a century. A lot of evidence that it's coming from the Chinese. And when other countries even raise it, like Australia, the Chinese use their coercive economic activities to shut people up.
But NBC was using its own channel to shut people up in America.
Correct.
And name calling. So Chuck Todd, it's very tough there. What are we going to do now? Well, maybe if we hadn't spent 3 years saying it wasn't, then we'd have a little bit more evidence left over.
Yeah, and
we forced the World Health Organization in. If we forced inspectors in on China and said, you know what, if you don't allow inspectors in, that debt, you've got on the U.S.
Good luck. Yeah. Right.
Or we're not selling you this. We're not buying you this. Whatever. We're sanctioning you this way.
Yeah.
But we didn't do any of that. And NBC itself didn't do any of that. This is their other host just 2 years ago. I guess you would have said this, Joy Reid, to Chuck Todd, to even a question like that, Bite 31.
Just weeks ago, Dr. Anthony Fauci rejected the conspiracy that coronavirus was man-made in a lab in Wuhan, China. And yet this week, Donald Trump is still pushing the debunked bunkum.
The debunked bunkum, except now the FBI and the Department of Energy said it is likely that this was created in a lab in Wuhan, China. Now, there are consequences for this, folks. And you can't just give them a free pass. And this administration's giving a free pass. And the media, let's focus on that for a moment, should be embarrassed. And it doesn't. And MSNBC, although Chuck Todd's now sounding high and mighty, well, this is very serious. If this was a intentional act or even an unintentional act in a Chinese lab, different than what we thought before. And then, Congressman Sullivan rightly says we'll do oversight hearings. That's all great. But MSNBC and NBC were peddling this, saying that Chinese anybody propaganda that questioned it was engaged in, tinfoil hat stuff.
Yeah, they're peddling Chinese propaganda. We play Chris Hayes, too. I mean, this was all in the same month. This is May of 2020.
A lot of people on the right love that phrase, escape from the lab, because it sounds like something from a Marvel movie or a comic book. Both scientists and the U.S. intelligence community agree that this coronavirus was not man-made. That is not a possibility.
Okay, these guys, they're all wrong, these reporters.
Well, here we had doctors. This is, again, on MSNBC, same month, same year, all in May. This is from a doctor, so it must be true. Bite 24.
There are virus hunters out there that have looked at what's the most likely cause, and there's no debate here. Among serious people, there is no debate. This was most likely what we call a zoonotic disease. It went from animal to human, likely in a market in Wuhan. It's not uncommon.
Well, Dr. Vin Gupta, interesting statement. He called it a...
no debate.
No debate. No way this could be. People are chasing this down. They're all wrong.
You never want doctors to say no debate either. I don't even know what kind of doctor he is.
It doesn't matter.
There should always be options to doctors.
Now, here's the problem. The media was promoting this.
Yeah, I don't.
We can't even discuss that. Maybe. And by the way, what was it for? What did the media have to gain by trying to protect the Chinese Communist Party here?
Their business.
That's what I don't understand. Right.
They're the bigger NBC financial interest in China, which is bigger than their news department.
Yes.
Keeping sports on, keeping their Marvel movies. People talk about Marvel movies. I think Chris Hayes talked about making sure those get played.
Yeah.
There was a lot of backlash by the American people. Ask John Cena about it when he started speaking in Mandarin in those ads. This is during COVID. It did not play well. So now I think they're going to try to make a reversal like this never happened.
Well, they're already doing that. I think the problem is we know what. Look, we have two people on our staff. One was the former Secretary of State, head of the CIA. The other was the former Director of National Intelligence. They said this has been known for years. For years. Yeah. The problem with this administration is they do not want to hold the Chinese Communist Party accountable, and they had complicity in the media. And the media covered this up with them. And anybody that questioned it, like I said, why would the media care if it was in a lab or if it was in a wet market? What difference would that make to the media? What you should be doing is just finding out what the options are, what's legit. But they went on a rampage to say, oh, no, there is no way. There's no evidence. This doctor said, I'm going to play that doctor's statement again because I'm going to tell you something. This, to me, sums up the problem with the mainstream media.
There are virus hunters out there that have looked at what's the most likely cause, and there's no debate here. Among serious people, there is no debate. This was most likely what we call a zoonotic disease. It went from animal to human, likely.
Zoonotic disease sounds really impressive. Virus hunters are looking at this. No debate. Serious people, because if you question this, you're not a serious person. That's like when somebody calls themselves a public intellectual. They're a public intellectual. Okay, let me tell you what this is. Media complicity in a pandemic that harmed the United States significantly, wreaked havoc to families and kids with school children, families that lost loved ones around the globe, not just the United States. So now my question is, okay, so now the FBI and the Department of Energy said, maybe this, most likely this was from the lab that the United States funded, by the way. So that's part of it. Anthony Fauci saying there's no way that's correct. You know, I don't know what they were protecting China so aggressively in all this, and they still are. That's like letting a balloon that is a spy device traverse the entire of the United States and then shoot it down when it's over Hilton Head after it's already gotten all its data and sent it back to the Chinese party. That's aggressive. And then don't worry, they're going to go up, and they've got 3 unidentified balloons, which literally were balloons, and they shot those down too. This is what's happening when you've got this kind of leadership in the White House. Does anybody listen to this broadcast think for a moment China's going to be held accountable for this under this administration? I don't, but I am encouraged that Jim Jordan and our friends in Congress and oversight are going to get to the bottom of some of this.